How are we doing, everybody? And welcome to the Spectrum. You know, long gone are the days when microtransactions were nothing more than putting a coin in an arcade machine.
Before this disgusting practice found its way into modern gaming, when you bought a whole game, you got a whole game. A game with exciting, fully developed levels, graphics and mechanics, where they were the focus of the developers instead of profit. Games with characters and costumes you could unlock, instead of having to acquire them behind a paywall, and games that had genuine passion behind them. And if you did want to gamble real money on a game, you could go to your local arcade and test your skills to get as much gameplay you could out of that one coin. One day, while I was reminiscing about microtransaction-free gaming, I had a curious thought. I have a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much money it would cost me to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. So before we begin the first episode, there are some rules that I need to inform you about. 1. The price of credits will be based on the prices in my local arcade, meaning that some of the games will cost 50p and others £1. If a game features multiplayer co-op, I must utilise that feature as much as I can, and versus games must be played single player unless there is a team versus team function. So with those rules sorted, let's get started.
So today's game has a short but bizarre history. The game started as a comic book series in 1987 by Mark Schultz and ended in 1996. During its time, Game Designers Workshop turned it into an active RPG, it spawned a kids series and an arcade game by Capcom. And at the 1995 E3 event, a sequel was announced for the arcade game, but it was never made and nobody knows why. Some of you out there might already know what it is I'm talking about, but for those of you who don't know, I'm talking of course about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is a series set in a post-apocalyptic future after the Earth has been ruined by pollution and natural disasters, forcing humans to live underground in cities for 500 years. When they re-emerged, they discovered that species that were once extinct, in particular the dinosaurs, had returned and dominated the Earth's surface. But what does this have to do with Cadillacs? Well, the answer is easy enough. Two main characters, Jack Tenrick and Hannah Dundee, discover it while they're out scavenging. Jack owns a garage where he restores vehicles to their prime. Well, that's it. I said the answer was easy, not epic. Originally, the comic was named Xenozoic Tales before being rebranded by its recognisable name by Marvel in 1990. When the series stopped being published, the story arc was incomplete and soon fell into obscurity. It's definitely a unique series, featuring stories about survival, corrupt politicians, a psychic dinosaur subspecies, and mutants. Oh yeah, there's mutants. The comic did have some disturbing imagery in them, and no doubt it was aimed at a mature audience, so the logical thing to do was make a kids cartoon out of it. It's your typical Saturday morning cheese that you would expect from the likes of Captain Planet or the X-Men, but it's got that 90s charm to it, so there is some enjoyment to be had here. The game by Capcom, however, is more faithful to the comics, and I for one am very thankful for that, otherwise I don't think I would enjoy it as much. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up that goes up to 3 players with nice graphics, good controls, and even has a few little nods to the comic lore here and there. You have a choice of 4 characters, each with their own stats. Obviously, you've got Jack, who is the all-rounder, Hannah, who is the best with items. You also get to choose from the side characters Mustafa, who has the ability to do flying kicks, and Mes Obradovic, who is the physically strongest. Fun fact, Mes was made for this game and doesn't appear in the comics or the cartoon at all. Even the wiki can't explain who he is, simply referring to him as Mysterious. The game starts with you confronting the antagonist gang, the Black Marketeers. They try to attack you, but a cutscene attack readies you for action. You have a variety of moves at your disposal. A basic combo attack, a dashing attack, a jumping attack, throws, a surrounding attack that drains your health, and a double team attack where you throw your partner into a jumping attack. There are also a few weapons you can pick up. These can be as simple as a stick to an RPG. You can heal your health by eating food that drops, and other items you find will increase your score or restore ammo to the guns you're using. The first level is to a respectful degree of difficulty. It introduces you to some of the game's mechanics and is straightforward. At the end of the level, you encounter the first boss who introduces you to one of the game's standout features. The game follows a standard beat 'em up formula of fight a bunch of baddies, kill a boss, next level. However, it does have some features that aren't so common. As you go through the levels, you'll inevitably encounter dinosaurs. When they turn green, they are harmless and will walk by, but when aggravated by either you or the enemy, they turn orange and will attack both player and AI alike. Once they take enough damage, they will turn green again and leave. It can be helpful, and it is funny to watch the enemy get eaten after they wake up a sleeping dinosaur. Once you defeat the first boss, he tells you where to find the butcher, and you arrive in the jungle to hunt him down. One thing I do like about this game is the changing environments. They change often enough to keep the game visually fresh, and you do get the impression of a world rebuilding itself to adapt to its new threats. Also, the jungle levels got baby dinosaurs. It's so tiny! Sometimes the environment can change mid-level. Like here we are fighting in the jungle, then into a swamp, and then the next area is what looks like to be an abandoned camp that's been repurposed into a dino slaughtering grounds. Wait, what? If this is your first sighting of gore in the game, it's a pretty dark introduction, but not dark enough to allow you the use of swear words. Oh no. A psychopath slaughtering an animal for his own amusement is fine, but saying fuck is a step way too far. After you take him down, a gang of bikers are attempting to take over Jack's garage, so you need to travel across the wasteland to stop them. This level is actually quite cool because you get to use the Cadillac for the first and only time. That's disappointing. It would have been really cool to have a shooting section or maybe even a racing section in the car, seeing it's how it's in the title of the game and all. You don't get to use it for long though, because after about 20 seconds of driving it, you will encounter the boss and he destroys it. Once you take him down, you travel to the garage to find out that you are too late and it's been taken over, so you need to negotiate with your enemies to get the garage back peacefully. Nah, I'm just kidding, violence will solve this problem. At this point in the game is when old bosses start becoming regular enemies. But the trade-off is, in this level, you get to access guns faster and it's never not satisfying to mow down a row of enemies. The guns have limited ammo as you can guess. You can get more when it drops from enemies, but this rarely happens, so don't expect to hold on to a gun for too long, especially if you get hurt while holding one. If you fired at least once, it instantly despawns when it hits the ground, so do not hesitate to shoot a bitch. Another nice feature is an empty gun can still be used as a weapon. Most of them you'll throw, but the rifles you can swing around like a club, and it does some decent damage. Boss for this level is one of those bosses. You know the one, the kind that are designed to be cheap and hiding the fact that the AI is cheating. He zooms around the screen while minions attack you and distract you so the boss can get a hit in you the first frame of animation it gets. And if he isn't doing that, he's doing a full screen attack that will be hard to avoid because you don't have a dodge mechanic. After you take the garage back, the next level starts with a distress call from a nearby village that's under attack from rampaging dinosaurs. In another dark moment, the level opens up with some thugs trying to cook a baby dinosaur alive. I haven't read any of the original comics, so I can't say for sure if this is what to expect from the series, but fuck me. Who'd look at this and go, hey, do you know who'd love this? Kids. True to its word, there are rampaging dinosaurs in this level. Something I find funny is imagining the character saying, alright guys, we need to calm these dinosaurs down. How do we do that, Jack? By punching them, shooting them, hitting them with fire. When you arrive at the village, the elder approaches you to tell you who the enemy leader is, but is shot before he can tell you. The boss for this stage is surprisingly easy considering how late we are in the game. You wait for him to finish running, then attack him after he fires his shots. He dies pretty easy. Or does he? What in the everlasting fuck is that? Now mutants join the list of enemies that you'll fight. This particular one, however, is disappointing. It doesn't have any unique attacks like spitting acid or anything. It claws and charges at you. It's just a copy of the fat guys but with more health and no jump attack. When you defeat him, the party stands around and stares at his corpse. You set out to stop the Doctor before his army of mutants is complete. In this level, the mutants are more of a threat and we get another dark moment. When it makes its first appearance, it breaks its way out of a containment chest and latches onto a thug, then mutates him into a bigger creature. It has new attacks and attacks from a distance most of the time, and when you kill it, it changes colour and latches onto another thug. It does this twice and each version has a unique attack to it, and the fuckers have a habit of attacking you off screen, hitting you while you are mid-combo. Killing it for the third time finishes the level. Jack pulls a photo out of his ass and says he recognises the Doctor and tells us where we can find him using bad English. Then you launch an assault on the Doctor's base. This is when the game starts throwing recycled bosses at you regularly and makes you fight 3 of the cheap boomerang fucker at the end of the level. Only this time they had the nerve to hit you on the first frame you get to control your character, leaving you with no chance to respond. So if you have no life, you get killed by a cheap shot. The game's continue screen sees you at the end of a gun barrel as a villain mocks you. If you do continue, you can smack the ugly pig fucker in his face. The 3 bosses, the Sliceors, get it? Because they slice you and they look like dinosaurs, all have a stupid amount of health, and I can't even imagine that doing this by myself in a real arcade. Much easier in co-op. The penultimate level features some of the recycled bosses and some traps to try and take away any credits you have left. But in all honesty, apart from the boomerang bastard, this game has been the right level of challenge most of the time. Sometimes it gets a little ridiculous or too easy, but I enjoyed it at last. We come to the final fight of the game, the face-off against Dr. Fessenden. In typical final boss fashion, he fights you in multiple stages. Recognise this one? Yeah, pretty underwhelming. Until this Resident Evil looking motherfucker attacks you. And guess what? He's still underwhelming. His attacks are basic and only has 2 of them. A stab and 3 Nova Blast he fires one after the other. Every now and then a goon will wander in to help, or a choreographed attack will try and catch you out. But he's not hard, just jump kick, punch and body slam him until he dies. There's so much that could have been done here. It's a 2-headed T-Rex mutant with a mad scientist on its belly, for God's sake. Maybe they could have made it so that you had to target the heads individually to stop it doing certain attacks, or just maybe make it immune to physical attacks until you find a gun. But it is what it is. With Fessenden defeated, the ending plays out. The lab begins to self-destruct and the characters try to escape. In cliché fashion, Hannah trips up, Jack stops to help her. Mustafa and Mess make it out in time, but Jack and Hannah are nowhere to be seen and die in the fire. Then it cuts to them both walking home across the desert. So is this the bad ending? Was there a secret condition I had to fulfill to get a good ending? Oh wait, no. There was a surprise twist right at the end. You bastards. Where do you keep finding these Cadillacs? So the real ending is all 4 of them heading home. But you 2 still have to run. Because reasons.
That was Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I think it's an underrated gem that's hidden away in Capcom's library. It could use a bit more polish and maybe some more effort could have been put in, and it is disappointing that we never got a sequel to it. However, it is definitely worth a play, and I think if you do get the chance to play it, you should absolutely take it. So before I show you how much pretend money I've spent on this pretend arcade, I'd like to thank you all for watching and invite you to join us next time where we'll be fighting against pseudo-Nazis in fake Vietnam.